Hey, it's your boy back in the house, and today's video is about the biggest lie in the fitness industry that is keeping you fat. I'm gonna exactly show you what that is, and that is fasting. The fitness industry made us believe that fasting is bad if you want to lose weight because it slows down your metabolism, but that could not be further from the truth. And I'm also gonna show you how science backs up that fasting is the best thing you can do if you want to lose weight. The first thing I want you to understand is just, if you think logically on why fasting might be the best strategy for weight loss, is because what do you need to do in order for your body to use your fat for fuel? You need to not eat, basically to force your body to use your fat for fuel. So when somebody says just eat less or do this, eat this, but don't eat this, actually that works. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I'm saying not eating anything is the best. And also what you need to understand is that our body has actually evolved to fast. So back in the day, we only had gatherers and hunters. Over the winter, there was not much food, so we had to fast for a long period of time. That's how our body has evolved to function. That's how we are meant to function. Now we got grocery stores and we have access to foods all the time. When we're hungry, we can just go straight to the fridge. But before, how we evolved, that's not how it worked. If you're hungry, you have to go hunt. If you're hungry, you have to go gather something. And that takes time. And throughout that period of time, you actually had to fast, not have any food in your system. So when I say fast, that basically means not having any food in your system for some period of time. And also do not forget that almost every religion promotes fasting, but lately people have been talking that fasting is super bad for your health. Like the number one thing I hear is like, your brain needs fuel. Yes, you don't need to eat food to have fuel. Your body already has fuel on you, formed as fat, basically that your body uses when you don't have any access to the food that you ate. So basically when you do not eat, your brain gets energy from your fat stores. That's the whole point of you trying to diet and trying to lose weight, is to get rid of that fat. And how you get rid of it is by your body using it for energy. And how you get your body to use it for energy is by not eating at all. So your body is forced to actually not let your body die. And also later, I'm gonna actually explain to you to how it affects your muscle, because there's a lot of myth regarding that too. And I'm actually gonna give you clarity on how fasting affects muscle. And let me remind you, it is not negative. So we are going to catch up to that in a bit, but let's first examine how fasting affects our hormones. That's the main thing we want to talk about, because it's the main thing that affects how your fat cells work. So the number one hormone that fasting decreases is a hormone called insulin. And on the opposite hormone that fasting, so when you fast, you have low levels of insulin, and what that does, that increases an opposite hormone called glucagon. So as you can see, they both work in a perfect harmony, because when one is low, the other one is super high, and they work like this because they're both released from the same organ called pancreas. Insulin is released from beta cells, glucagon is released from alpha cells, and they just have a certain function. And let me explain to you what that function is. There are two most important hormones that affect our fat cells. Do you store fat or do you burn fat for energy? Now this is how your fat cell looks like. Inside you have little energy molecules called triglycerides, and they're a base form of how your fat looks like. So basically, this is how your fat gets stored. They actually look like this. This is not just me giving a metaphor, this is literally how they look. This is a molecule that has one molecule of glycerol, their head, and 3 molecules of fatty acids. So what you need to understand is that glucagon is the hormone that tells your body that you do not have enough energy that you didn't eat enough energy, that you didn't eat enough calories, and then it actually starts using your fat for fuel. So for example, you can be in a caloric deficit if your insulin is high but glucagon is low. You don't have a hormone that's going to burn fat. What's going to happen? Your metabolism will slow down. And the reasons why it does not slow down on fasting when you fast is because you have high levels of glucagon, and glucagon will not allow your body to slow down your metabolism because it can use your fat for energy. Only people that fasting might affect negatively when it comes to their basal metabolic rate, their BMR, basically their metabolism speed, are people that are already skinny and do not have already stored energy formed as fat or muscle. If they do not have fat or muscle, your body cannot burn anything and is forced to slow down your metabolism. But if you have a lot of fat on you and you fast, your body sees, okay, we have tons of this stuff called fat, we have a lot of it, and we can use it for energy. We do not have to slow down our metabolism. So glucagon is a fat burning hormone. He senses that you did not have enough energy through what you ate, so basically now it has to use your fat for energy. And what he does, when you have high levels of glucagon, basically when you fast, they're going to take these little triglycerides, get them out of the cell. Basically they will go into your bloodstream. Basically then from your bloodstream they will go to your brain, your muscle cells, into your liver cells, where they get used as energy. So when they get out of the cell, that means you will have less of those energy molecules, fat. That's the base form of how your fat looks like. Basically they will leave your cell, and then your cell will shrink in size. So basically you will shrink in size as well, because your fat cell has gotten smaller, and then all of your fat gets smaller as well. And in biochemistry, because this is science, this is biology, this process is called lipolysis. When your body takes these triglycerides out of your fat cell and gets them to your brain, to your liver, to your muscle cells, basically where they get used as energy so you can actually move and do the stuff. It's not all about calorie deficit. Calorie deficit can work for a lot of people, but when it does not work, when you see people actually do not get the results, it's not just because they couldn't stay disciplined or some bullshit like that, what I hear all the time. Their body might be producing more insulin. So if you're in a caloric deficit and your body produces insulin, that means glucagon will be low, and your body is not able to use your fat for energy. And what's going to happen, your body has to slow down your metabolism. And the only thing your body can use for energy is your muscle. So your people be on a caloric deficit and lose weight. They think, oh my God, I'm losing weight. Most of that weight is simply just muscle burning. Calorie deficit is important. Calorie deficit works, and calorie deficit I always recommend. But the thing that people do not understand, it will not work for everybody, because for some people that might be actually spike up insulin and lower the levels of glucagon. Now I'm going to show you exactly why people in caloric deficit will not lose weight if their hormones are like this. If their insulin is super high, this is exactly the opposite, and glucagon is super low. Insulin is the hormone that tells your body that you need to actually store fat. So insulin is the hormone that tells your body that you ate way too much. Basically, there's way too much glucose, blood sugar in your bloodstream. So basically, you eat food, you eat calories, and those calories when they get digested and absorbed, they get turned into glucose. So basically, they go into your blood. And now that's blood glucose, that's blood sugar in your bloodstream, and that's what your body uses for fuel. It's not the calories that you ate and it magically go do stuff in your body. They get turned into sugar, into blood sugar, and your body uses that blood sugar as energy at that time. And insulin is the hormone that tells your body that you have way too much blood sugar. It means you probably ate way too much of certain foods, and that means the extra needs to get stored into your fat cells. And this is how it happens. So this is your fat cell, and this is what happens when you have a lot of insulin and low levels of glucagon. So these are triglycerides-based form of how your fat looks like. Basically, we went through this. So basically, when you have high levels of insulin, insulin is the hormone that tells your body that it's time to store fat. So basically, insulin produces these triglycerides, and then he actually gets them into the cell. This process in biochemistry is called liponeogenesis, creation of new fat. This is actually exactly what happens with our chemicals in our body. So your body creates triglycerides, your fat, and then it stores them into your fat cells. So it means there will be more fat, these molecules inside there. That means your fat cell will expand in size because it has more energy, and then the person will expand in size as well. So as you can see, the importance of these two hormones, of how they regulate our fat cells. It's not just about calorie deficit, because our fat cells do not have receptors for calories. They have receptors for hormones, and they react to these two hormones. So when you see people actually succeed in a caloric deficit, it's not because just they're in a caloric deficit, it's because they unconsciously, or their body just responds well to a caloric deficit. And this actually happened. They had high levels of glucagon and low levels of insulin. Your body cannot burn fat if you have high levels of insulin and low levels of glucagon. So when you have high levels of insulin, not only are you gaining fat, storing fat, your body is actually incapable of burning fat. It's incapable of lipolysis, getting these guys out of the cell where they get used for energy. The reasons why insulin will stop you from burning fat is because, for example, your maintenance calories are 2,000 and you decide to go on a caloric deficit and you eat 1,500. So that means technically your body is forced to take 500 energy from your fat stores. That's the ideal world we live in, where we actually think this way. Remember, this will work. Your body will be forced to take 500 calories from your fat if your glucagon levels are high, if your metabolism is in its optimal state. But if your insulin levels are high, basically fat storing hormone, he blocks lipolysis. So your body needs 500 energy, but your body cannot get these triglycerides out of the cell. So what your body is going to do is going to slow down your metabolism. It will slow down your cognition, your liver, your energy, your mood. Are you depressed? How your muscles? Are you feeling weak? Are you feeling energetic? So basically, all of those processes in your body will slow down. How much heat you are producing as well. That's one of the biggest factors. Not have its maintenance anymore 2000. It will drop down to 1500. Basically, your body will only be able to use the energy that you eat. So your body will be forced to slow down to the level that you eat, because it cannot get energy from fat, because your insulin levels are not letting your fat to be used as energy. So your body would die if it did not slow down your metabolism. Now I understand there are some concerns. People are saying, what if I don't eat anything, and what will happen? If you do not eat anything, basically, then you are fasting. And if you are fasting, then your body will not have high levels of insulin. It's impossible. And your body will have high levels of glucagon. That's going to happen. Only way you can actually die is if you fast and inject insulin if you're diabetic. That's why it's tricky to lose weight if you are a diabetic. Another reason why the fasting is actually much better than caloric deficit, this is one of the reasons. For example, this represents your insulin level. This is normal, this is high levels of insulin, this is low levels of insulin. So basically, I'm going to take another marker, make another one. So this is how your body reacts to fasting. These are your insulin levels when you fast. So basically, you eat one time and then you fast for all the periods of time. What you need to understand, when your levels of insulin are below the line, that means you have low levels of insulin. And if you have low levels of insulin, you will have high levels of glucagon. You will have high levels of glucagon, and glucagon will promote getting these guys out of the cell. So see how much time your body is like whole day in this state of burning fat for energy. But what happens when you're caloric deficit? Your body, you eat something and you don't eat for a period of time, but then you go back up. You don't let your insulin levels go straight low, super low, where your body is just gonna be constantly using this for energy. And then your body you might eat another meal, you might eat a big meal, you might not eat for a period of time, and then you eat enough, then you eat a snack, then you snack another time, and you go there. See how much more time is inside fat burning when you fast than how much time you are in fat burning when you're in a caloric deficit. Because no matter what you eat, even if it's a vegetable, something good, your insulin levels go slightly up, because that's just a fat storing hormone. No matter what you eat, your body at that time is in fat storing mode, aka high insulin levels. And what makes you lose weight is when you're more time in the lipolysis state and less time in a high insulin state of liponeogenesis, creation of new fat. Now this is the main reason to why fasting is simply the best strategy for weight loss. And also, what I promised at the end of this video is how your fasting actually affects your muscle, and the reason why it does not affect you negatively. So if you're concerned that your body is going to burn muscle, not your fat, if you're trying to fast, but what you need to understand, when you fast, your levels of glucagon will be high, and glucagon will promote lipolysis, basically getting these guys out of the cell, out of your fat cells. There's no reason for your body to burn muscle if your fat is there. Basically, your body first burns glucose, what you eat, then it burns your fat, and then when there's no fat, your body burns muscle, aka protein. And also studies have shown that fasting actually improves the levels of HGH. It also improves your testosterone levels. And also fasting produces a whole hormone called norepinephrine and basically adrenaline. And they both promote lipolysis, and they do not promote muscle burning. Only time your body will burn muscle for energy is if you do not have enough fat on your frame, basically when it gets to the low dangerous levels. Fasting is the best strategy for weight loss. That fasting is bad, that's simply the biggest lie you have been told in this fitness industry, because logic backs it up and science backs it up. I don't know what more proof anybody needs. And also, real quick, fasting is not bad for health. There are only 4 types of people that should not fast. People that are skinny, basically, if you're watching this video, that's probably not you. And also pregnant women and women that are breastfeeding and people that are on some heavy medication, like medication for diabetes. They can actually fast, but they need to actually be under medical supervision. But if you do not fall into those 4 categories, you are free to fast, my friend. For the people that can actually fast, they should fast ASAP, because not only it helps you burn fat for energy, it also promotes. Studies have shown that fasting improves your immune system health like nothing else, and that it will help with inflammation. And if you do not have inflammation, your body will shed fat faster, because I've talked about inflammation in other videos and how they affect our fat cells. So my friend, start fasting. You don't need to go all out the first time, first week. You can just skip a breakfast. You can just tell yourself, I'm not gonna eat till 3 p.m. this day. And that's also gonna promote a lot of lipolysis, basically gonna be losing a lot of fat for energy. So basically what I always recommend, combine intermittent fasting, combine calorie deficit, combine a keto diet, basically do not eat carbs. That's literally the ultimate strategy for weight loss. But fasting is the main one that will help you the most. So leave a like, go down below, comment on my video if you have any questions, or if you want to actually give me feedback on how my videos are, how much did they help you, or how much they did not help you, how much you think all of this is bullshit. Basically, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
In the deep, when your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put it all in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the